You know what I'm feeling at this moment and what I'm realizing actually is that I have the spirit of I have nothing to lose back. It's been 2 years since I'm just so into my business. Let's just rewind. I quit my job in 2018. I was working at Nike in Hilversum in the Netherlands. This is their European headquarters. I stayed there for 3.5 years and then I left with that mentality of I have nothing to lose. I just really want to teach. I just really want to share my passion for dancing. And that's it. I never thought that I would build a dance school or that any of the projects that happened after that would come to life. Like, I swear to you, my only goal at that moment of my life was I love dancing so much. I love African dances so much. And I just want to share my passion with people. And mind you, I used to teach when I was in Paris. I taught for a few months. So my teaching experience hasn't been that extensive. But having one of my, let's say, key mentors at the time in Amsterdam believing in me, offering me an opportunity to replace her was like, all right, maybe that's my ticket, and especially the amazing feedback that I got from my first class that I taught at the Amsterdam Dance Center, and even receiving an email from the school saying how many people reached out to them asking them for a spot for me. I was like, oh wow. Timing wise, I didn't get it and I didn't really give it any sort of thought because we're still working. But the idea still of leaving the company was just like, well, I'm not really fulfilled here. I don't really feel like I'm impacting. I don't really feel like I'm saving lives. I'm just maybe destroying wallets. Um, but the experience at Nike was really beautiful. But yeah, deep down I was like, I'm not sure. I'm not sure this is it. I'm not sure this is really what I want to be doing. And by this time I had also refunded my bank account loan, like my studies loan, because hello, I have a master's in human resources, international human resource management. But anyways, I left the company with that spirit of I have nothing to lose. 2019 was my first year, like teaching, I think maybe 14, 15 classes a week. Not even yet having my own workshops, right? But just teaching for people, teaching my own classes, renting my own space, and having a side job. 2020 COVID hit. For me, it was like, oh my God, yes. Holidays for a month. Oh my God, I'm taking it. Turns out that it was way longer than this. Switched and went online, obviously. 2021, we're more or less chill in the Netherlands and we have the opportunity to just start teaching outdoors, which was like teaching, but I decided to do it outdoors because fuck renting in a studio. And this was the most beautiful experience. 2022, I started organizing day workshops, inviting people and come up with my own concepts, mixing coaching and dancing. 2023 the same, everything starts to take shape, take place, and I'm doing longer things. I start going to Ghana. I do weekenders. I dare to do more, but still with that same spirit of like I have nothing to lose. And yet part of me was like, I still have something to lose, because I started building a sort of like following, a community. Brands started reaching out. So I had a lot of collaborations or being a movement director for Nike again. So I was like, okay, like you're starting to have a sort of reputation. So you cannot really, mess up, quote unquote. And then even when I say this out loud, I'm like, but why did I do this to myself, right? Why did I sort of lose this mini spark of, oh my God, I have so many ideas. And at the time I still had so many ideas that I didn't do because of this sort of reputation. Oh, my sort of following is growing on Instagram. I need to be serious. I need to have more structure. I need to just show something that is, thought through, anchored, grounded, and all these kinds of things. And I discovered that side of me, obviously, which I really love. And at the same time, I feel like I just really prevented myself from sort of like, yeah, just being myself and just really putting myself out there. And this is where the whole people pleasing and everything got really exacerbated. Like, even building my content was made for the people. And I wasn't even following any sort of like social media tip strategy or listening to podcasts and everything. But I was like, well, sort of, the basics of building a business is like listening to your customer, making sure that they are also satisfied and that you're solving a problem. And then I'm like, okay, well, anyways, I really started feeling that I was constricting myself and that I wasn't that as free as I wanted. And every time I felt free again, and when I had this feeling of I have nothing to lose, is when my body got injured. And it's almost as if the injury always happened when I was just not being myself. Like, I remember this summer in 2023, I had so many things lined up for summer. And summer is usually like summer retreats and camps and whatever. I had to cancel everything, all the festivals, all the workshops, all the retreats I was invited to because I fucked up my knee. I have a torn meniscus and I had to stay a good 2.5 months not doing anything because I couldn't even put my leg down. So even walking, taking up the stairs was just like fucking painful. And in that moment, I felt again that sensation of I have nothing to lose, you know? And after those 2.5 months, I'm not going to give you the details because it's not the point. After those 2.5 months, I launched something again where I was like, I want this so badly, you know? I launched the concept of like free flow that was inspired to me by one of the best dancer ever in the world. His name is Edwin Boateng. I just hope that someday he listens to my podcast. But anyways, I have a very beautiful relationship, dynamic friendship with this person. And I met him in Ghana. And I really look up to him a lot because he is free. He is the embodiment of freedom, of integrity, of I have nothing to lose spirit. And he's always trusted himself, believed in himself, even when he's being rejected by people. Like, if he has an idea to his core, in his heart, he's just going to find a fucking way to do it. And so I launched this concept, and it really felt like I was starting from scratch because not only I stopped for almost 3 months, but then I come back and then it's like, my core was a bit shaken because do I still want to teach? Am I still fit to teach physically? Am I still fit to teach emotionally? And all these questions started to sort of like be there. And then when I launched the free flow, obviously the first class, I think I had 5 or 6 people, but having 5 or 6 people for me was everything because it was like, I love this thing. I love this concept. I really believe in it. And I am just going in it with that spirit of I have nothing to lose. And the more I did it, the more I showed up, the more people came through. And I think that before I stopped teaching, we had classes of like 30 people. And I was like, wow, and 30 people for me is my max because then I feel like I'm losing the connection with each and every person. And then it becomes too much. But anyways, that's not the point again. But after that, I was like, oh my God, yes, that spirit is here. And then this was 2023. By then, I was already having my twice a year weekenders, my weekly classes, my brand collaborations, my sort of like side job, just teaching for companies or those were one-offs, or really having a contract either as a model or as a movement director or as a special guest in a sort of like program. So everything was really going fine and everything was really going well. But again, I still felt like I didn't have that I have nothing to lose mentality until the point where I created the free flow concept. 2024 is the year that really everything exploded, where I think in the Netherlands I stayed maybe 4 months because the rest of the time I was just traveling for festivals, for workshops, for my own retreats, my own camps. And this was such a beautiful year. And again, 2025 was where everything again exploded, but on the other side. And so when I think of it, it's really been 2 years where sort of like I didn't really nourish that feeling of I don't have anything to lose. And I say nourish because I don't feel like we're waiting for creativity or inspiration to happen. Like, you have to nourish this. You have to just find your own moments during the day or during the week where you're like, let me just, I know there are things that I want to do, that I want to explore, and let me give them time. And I think that part of what's happening now, and that I have nothing to lose mentality is coming back, is because I'm doing that work for the past, I would say, 2-3 months. And of course it's like on and off because I was still looking for a place and going through the whole grieving process and burnout and my health and blah blah blah. But now, let's say for the past month, it's really something that I stick to it, and thanks God I have this beautiful group of women with me. Every Sunday is really like my moment, it's our moment, and it's really thanks to that I finally launched and the podcast and my video project series. Because yeah, I think otherwise you just keep on going with life. You're being, why sucked, it's not necessarily sucked, but why life happens. So you're just like going through it and not really necessarily nurturing you the same way you do that for people, for your job, for your day-to-day life. I think that's so fucking necessary to really, and mandatory, I think mandatory to do that for yourself. And yesterday I finally did the first portrait with my friend Laurine, and this was the most beautiful experience, one of my highs of my lifetime, honestly. Because, and I think this deserves an episode on itself, but my point here today was really sort of like nurturing that I don't have anything to lose mentality, because it's gonna inspire you to really do what it is that you want to be doing. And I think that you're so intertwined with your own process of oh and excitement that you really just forget about the world. You really just forget about people, about being validated, being approved, or being liked, or fitting into a box or a model. Like, you really just get out of your own bubble and get out of your own head. And I really encourage you to nourish that, to really nourish that I don't have anything to lose. Be it that I lost a parent and I really realized that time is fleeting and that this is the only metric that we never get back, because we can get money back. We can have new friendships. We can have a new sense of purpose. We can have a new job. We can have a new place. But that time metric, again, is really the only thing that we cannot get back. So in a sense, we really have nothing to lose, and we shouldn't have anything to lose. And of course, it's not a race towards, oh my God, I don't have it, I might be dying tomorrow or whatever. It's not a FOMO or a race, but it's just more, making this life, like coming back to making this life, making yourself, making your dreams, your desires, your everything so precious. All of it is precious. So it needs care, it needs love, the same way you find your relationship with your partner or your family precious. All of it needs time. All of it needs care. All of it needs love. All of it needs to be nurtured and nourished. And this really, we need to create time for that. So yeah, I was just really super inspired to share that this morning in the midst of like writing my morning pages, because I think it's important to go back to that essence of, fuck man, I have zero thing to lose. I have everything to gain from this life, from this experience. Like, if shit hits the fan, I learn. If shit doesn't hit the fan and then I get super successful because of it, then I learn. And in any case, I learn and I fucking win. So there's not even anything to lose.